I'm Abigail Andersson. I currently live at Goodger. I have 3 children who are 10, 8 and 5, and my husband is Dan Andersson from Anderson's Fruit Market. I was born in Nanango and I have been in the South Burnett all my life. The South Burnett is my true home, and when I decided to have children I knew that I would return to the area to raise them. I've worked with a lot of community groups and it's just an extension of myself, and knowing that I've got strong community people that want to be represented, and so I've just thought the next step would be to be in council. The Modern Resources project obviously really does concern me because it's in Division 3 and that's where I live. When Toorong were going to resume our property, so that's a completely different project, I am obviously not anti-progress. I said to them that's fine if they offer me the private valuation. Obviously it's a very emotional and emotive thing, your house being resumed and seeing your neighbours' houses be resumed, so definitely not anti-progress. However, I believe that the Moreton Resources site is definitely way too close to the town. So I would have to say that my position on it is that I'm anti the mine coming, and I also feel that within the next 20 years we would be wanting to look at moving away from coal-based energy and moving towards renewable energy. So my ideas to bring new industry into the South Burnett would be to start working with big companies, for example Coles, and inviting them to realise the potential that the South Burnett has. You could build a giant distribution warehouse here and have all their regional stores supplied from a land base, and offer them that at either a free rate, so that we're creating jobs and a workforce and a new industry, so that when we are a mining town in the future, that we're stable and we have a stable economy that we can rely on. There are so many positives to living in the South Burnett. The main one that I feel is that you are close to everything, but far enough away that you can still enjoy the country life. You also can see people downtown and know them, and know that your neighbour will help you. I think that's a beautiful thing, our community spirit, and we do have many, many attractions, which I no doubt will talk about later. I don't believe there are any true negatives to living in the South Burnett. However, obviously some people feel that we are a distance to specialty items or other things that they feel that they need in their life. I think that the South Burnett offers everything that you need to have a happy, fulfilled life. However, we do have red dirt on all of our clean things, but people have made money out of that, dyeing their clothes red, so there's always a positive and a negative. The road to the Bunny Mountains, the road that the constituent speaks about, is a state road, I believe. I know that the local paths that we take are bitumened. However, I agree the Bunny Mountains is a jewel in the crown of the South Burnett, and that would require state government lobbying. The report regarding the Lodi Flopier Peterson Private Hospital will be out in the next few weeks, and the council's true aim is to make sure it's a profitable asset. With Gina Reinhardt now subsidising that, it will come ahead for at least 3 years to be a profitable asset. But my personal position is that if it does cost us money, that no, the taxpayers shouldn't have to fund that. We need to maintain clear lines of communication between the public, the council and state level. The state level and both Liberal and Labor governments have recognised that we need a new public hospital and we need to continue to make noise about it. I think if we continue to lobby for the new hospital, it will eventually address our lack of specialist services. However, with the announcement of the private hospital, we will be able to release some of the strain on that. The council needs to keep connected with groups that champion support for those that have mental health issues already. As long as we are supporting the groups that support those that have issues, I think we're on the right track. I think Australia as a whole does have a cultural issue with alcohol. However, I don't think that you need a council to dictate to you. I think that the council need to support people who support people with issues with alcohol, and there already is strong community leaders in our region to support this. I absolutely do think that we provide support. We are a town that is small enough that we do look out for one another, and that's a beautiful thing to be a part of. So I've actually worked with several groups that provide sanctuary for those trying to escape domestic violence. There is definitely key community people providing those. However, like most non-for-profits, they are resource poor. And it's just like I said before about the council being aware of those issues, having representatives on those groups so that we can support them in any way that we can. I wouldn't actually agree with that statement that there isn't a budget crisis. I do think that we need to look at how our money can deliver more. We need to get guarantees on our contracted roadworks. When you see work needing to be done over and over again, people get stressed with that, and that is a true issue, and we need longevity on our purchases. I believe the accounts are open at each budget meeting and each council meeting. However, there is a gallery, and I think that needs to have some time where you have question and answer for the public. Communication and transparency is key for the residents to understand spending. I think transparency is obviously important to everyone, to the candidates so that they feel heard properly, and to the community so that they feel they're getting the right information. However, when there is tenders and items that need to be kept private, that's just how things work. Residents do already have access to what their rates are being spent on. However, obviously communication needs to be risen to a better level so that they feel that they have access properly. I would need to sit down with the General Manager of Finance to go through the books so that we could look through and see all the cutbacks that we could make. However, I reiterate my point before about having longevity on our purchases. So ensuring that we get what we pay for and that roadwork lasts like it should. The road levy was brought in when the funding for our roads was slashed. I can't see being able to remove the road levy without first gaining funding from another source or cutting back on existing services. The road levy is currently 100% used to maintain our roads so that they don't fall into a dangerous level, and it is already falling behind with our current level. My home is out of town also, and I feel that my rates are comparable considering the amount that the Council of the South Burnett has to maintain with other areas. However, I do feel that angst where you don't get access to a service that you feel that you've paid for. If we can reduce wastage with having that longevity, as I spoke before, in roads, we should be able to have everybody benefit and access services. Having longevity on our purchases, so ensuring that we get what we pay for and that roadwork lasts like it should. As each town has developed, town planning put a lot of thought into parking spaces, and as the town grows, the spaces will grow. However, you may have noticed that Glendon Street car park is being revamped. It's obviously an issue that council takes seriously. I absolutely support a work list being released to the public so that residents can just look up when they are on the list. I feel this will alleviate heaps of problems. Our roads budget is over $14 million. It comes from all different sources, but the capital works comes in at over $14 million. I don't have access to all the information regarding the roads portfolio. However, I am aware that it isn't ever allocated by region, but by a number of different factors. I've been advised that approximately 60% are contracted works. Going back to my previous answer, I believe that it would be 40% that is our local workers. I would definitely give the residents a schedule so that they can see where their works are, and that would alleviate their angst. And I also think that if we do reduce spending by asking for guarantees for our purchases, then as everybody benefits, more will get done. We want to offer the next generation easier paths to staying in the South Burnett. I think it'll be easier for us to mimic the campuses such as Gatton to become an agricultural further education hub. CQU coming and offering us, or even just in talks to basing a hub here, is a great step forward. CQU talking of bringing a hub to the South Burnett is a great improvement on our current level of offering students further education. However, I feel that we're absolutely positioned to mimic campuses such as Gatton to become a proper agricultural centre for further education. I think we definitely need to think about when the future is not coal driven anymore. However, accessing grants, I'm definitely all for it and for solar in the future, but we have to be realistic about the timeframes on those. I think that we need to sell unused land and let somebody try and make it into a profitable asset. If we can't make it into a profitable service for the community ourselves, then it needs to be sold. Our future is definitely to move into the green energy and being able to access things where we can feed into the grid. I think that there is lifespans for everything, and the lifespan for coal is coming to an end. Absolutely, Indigenous Australians should be recognised in our Constitution. Old documents contain old attitudes. We have grown so much as a nation. The proof of that is standing right in front of you. I'm an Asian woman from a German father who was born in Anango. We all need to move forward from these things. I believe in the recognition of Indigenous languages, and also, of course, us assimilating into a multicultural society. I think that anything that makes people not view people as people is a dangerous thing. I know that's a twisty concept, but basically people not viewing each other as human beings is ridiculous. I think also that the council needs to spend some quality time with the elders and the Council of Cherbourg so that we can bridge the gap. Council definitely does need to keep up with the times, however that's very expensive. We only just got email into the system 10 years ago, but I feel that the things that we have already, we need to access them more. So moving towards people who have provided emails to email their statements out. I recently used the council phone line for a fallen tree. It was extremely efficient. I got straight through to the person that needed to identify that issue and fix it. However, there does need to be better communication between the departments themselves, and that needs to be fixed at a council level. I know that people are having issues with accessing reliable broadband within our area, and it is very frustrating when so much of our day-to-day life is on the internet. However, the government at a federal level is trying to fund programs so that we feel connected. There has been a $100 million Black Spot mobile program, and you can jump onto the government site and lodge your issues in your area if you have no signal. In the future, I do think the council should plan to go paperless. However, we do have a population that are very elderly, and it couldn't be achieved at this time. I am an independent. I don't have any affiliations with any political parties. However, I do believe in the individual person, and I would hope that anyone that does have affiliations can stand up at any time and say, I don't agree with that. My husband's family has run Anderson's Fruit Market as a successful business in Kingaroy for many years. Obviously, I do bookwork, I help with staffing, so that small business can be extended out into a large business, which the council is. Also, was the president of the Cumbia Kindergarten and the Kingaroy Kindergarten, which made me very well versed in policy and procedure at lots of different levels. The state government's giving you rules, plus a set of rules from an overseer, the C&K group. I also volunteer in the Visitor Information Centre, so I know why visitors come here. And I am a worthy candidate because I actually care about every resident and I want the best for them. The pay is set by an independent body. However, I would love to be able to salary sacrifice into community programs. I would hope that I can find a way to legitimately do this. I'm very aware that when you are a councillor, you are in the public life, and so you're not just a mum going to get her soccer shoes at the sports store, you are their point of contact. So I am fully aware that it consumes a huge part of your life, and it is a full-time role that doesn't go from 9 to 5. So yes, the rates I feel compensate you. Better communication between council and the public creates better understanding. Education starts with our youth. We need to continue programs such as Harmony Day and having different cultures be accepted and part of our everyday life. I think having people in the council in those roles that are diligent and passionate about those roles so they can direct where we need to go with that for the future. And obviously in the public spaces, lighting is a huge issue, and installing those so that people generally feel safe. I think it's time to change our archaic attitude towards workplace health and safety. It's a positive thing, it's a thing that's trying to protect us, and we need to remove that she'll be right mate attitude. The reason that we need to focus on this is that it is something that protects us.